Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to our class. Um, Thank you so much for joining us today. So, yesterday I was not available, but my HOD took over, and it was a great lesson. I saw that it went well. Thank you so much for participating. Also, um, you guys have been great throughout. So yeah, thank you so much for joining us every day. So yesterday you learned about lines of symmetry and there was homework. I normally don't get the feedback of the homework though, even though I do give it. I hope you are doing the homework. So if you have completed the homework that was given yesterday, where you had to draw polygons and show the lines of symmetry, it was regular polygons, 3 regular polygons and 2 irregular polygons that you're supposed to draw and show the lines of symmetry for each polygon. So please do screenshot and send it to my email. I would like to see if you guys are following, all right? But today we are dealing with division, whole numbers division, all right? So we'll be focusing only on long-term method today, but there will be other methods that will be shown, but we're not going to focus on them today. We are only focusing on long division method. So the first method is using a clue board. All right. Example, you have 3,660 divided by 15. So what the clue board advises is that you do it step by step. What you do is first write down the multiples of 15 on your clue card or on your clue board. This basically means you must have a piece of paper where you will be writing the multiples of the number that you will be dividing by, which is in this case, it is 15. All right, and then step number 2, you write down the multiples of 150. If you notice, 150 is a multiple of 15. And also you write down the multiples of 1,500, which is also a multiple of 15. All right, and then you divide each multiple by 15. All right, the last step, you find the answer and the remainder. Okay, that's a clue board, but we're not focusing on this one today. We'll focus more on the clue board method tomorrow. All right. Also, some clues in using doubling and halving when you are doing your division. All right. You will study the method of division in the next session, meaning in the next slide, which is the long method. All right. So first thing you need to do for you to be able to do division, you have to be good at forming multiples, just like the previous slide. We had 15, 150, 1,500. So you must be able to form multiples of the number that you are dividing by, which is called the divisor, but you don't have to use those terms for now. But it is called the divisor. You have to know at least the multiples of the number that you are dividing by. All right. So in this case here, all right, forming multiples of the numbers that you divide by, for example, the number 64 in 3,829, which is you divide by this number, which is 64. So you have to form a multiple of a number. You multiply the number by another number. For example, here, right? It's just like the previous slide, but here it will show you 10 multiplied by 64 is 664. So 640, not 664, 640. So 640 is a multiple of 64, right? Remember on the previous slide, we had 15 that we were dividing by, and we had 150 multiple of 15, and we had 1,500, which was also a multiple of 15. So it is the same case here. So also you multiply 100 by 64, which is 6,400. So 6,400 is a multiple of 64, right? So now this is what you do, right? Just to get some clues of the numbers you'll be dealing with when you're dividing, all right? So doubling may be used in some cases to find multiples, right? For example, if you know that 40 multiplied by 53 equals to 2120. You can double that number, which is 2120, to find 80 multiplied by 53. I hope this makes sense. So if you know that 40 multiplied by 53, right? I think we did this previously. If you know that 40 multiplied by 53 equals to 2120, you can double that number, which is 2120, to find 80 times 53. So the number that is doubled here is 40, right? So the number that is doubled, it is 40, so that you are able to find the multiple of 80 multiplied by 53. So you just double the answer, because you doubled 80, you just double the answer there. So it will give you the answer that you're looking for 80 multiplied by 53. All right. Also, halving may be useful to multiples. For example, if you know that 100 multiplied by 68 equals 6,800, you can halve 6,800 to find 50 multiplied by 68, right? So you can find the answer of 50 multiplied by 8 by halving 100 times 68, which is 6,800, and you divide that. You get 3,400. Then it will be an answer for 50 multiplied by 68. All right, these are just some clues that you can use. Okay. So here is the method, which is long division. So long division uses the very same concept as vertical column in addition and subtraction. If you still remember, you have your thousands and hundreds and tens and units. So you make sure that you work very neatly by putting all the thousands, the hundreds, the tens, and units neatly under one another. All right, I'll show you in an example now, where you write all your numbers according to the hundreds, the tens, the units. All right, so here we have an example of 2,626 divided by 25. All right, so this is the long method. So here you put 25, or rather 2,626 divided by 25. All right, so how many times does 25 go into 1? It doesn't, so you write a 0 there, but you don't have to, or you can just skip the space, because you have to write neatly underneath each number, all right, according to the place value. So you take 25, how many times does 25 goes into 26? It goes once, all right, so 1 multiplied by 25, it is 25. All right, sorry about that. So it is 25. All right, so 26 minus 25, the answer is 1, right? So can 25 go into 1? No, we already know we bring down the 2. So when you bring down the 2, you know that 25 will not go into 12, because 12 is smaller than 25, right? So you write 0 there. You write 0 because 25 cannot go into 12. So you bring down the 6, right? So you ask yourself, how many times does 25 go into 126? This is where you must know your multiples. Remember, we said earlier on, you must be able to know or form multiples of the number that you are dividing by. So if you are able to form the multiples of the number that you are dividing by, it will be easy for you to do the division. All right. So if you know that 25 goes into 126 5 times, right? You write there, okay, 5, then you write 5 times 25, it is 125. Then you subtract the 126, sorry, the 125 from 126, and then the remainder is 1. So here on the side, these are just multiples that you use that you write on the side. You don't necessarily have to show these on your steps of long division, but you can if you want to, just to show that. All right, 25 times 100 will give you 2,500. But you see the zeros here means that now you are busy. You are not actually um, you are not oh, sorry about that. So these two zeros shows that you are not here at this stage dealing with these two numbers, right? Or rather you are minusing the whole number, which is 2,626 from 25, sorry, from 2,500, which will give you 126. Okay, it will give you 126 because as you see here, 25 times 100 gives you 2,500. So these two zeros here basically means that you have to drop down the following number, because if 1 multiplied by 25 is 25, and then you drop down the 2 because you know that it is not going to go into 12, and then you drop the second one, now you are able to divide 25, sorry, 126 by 25. Okay, so here then on the last step, you say 126 minus 125, your remainder is 1, and then you write it there on top next to your answer, which is 105. The remainder is 1. So we know that 2,626 divided by 25, it is 105, and the remainder there is 1. Right, let's move on to our next slide. All right, on this slide here, we have a 3-digit number divided by 2-digit number. All right, but our focus is on 4-digit number divided by 2-digit number. So we just to recap on the first term's work where you did 3-digit numbers divided by 2-digit numbers. So here you have 526 divided by 25. All right, so you write here 526, you divide by 25. So you ask yourself, how many times does 25 go into 5? It does not. All right, you are either write a 0 or you don't write anything. Remember to always write underneath the place value, right? So how many times does 25 go into 52? Right, it goes 2 times, and then you write here your 2, and then you write, sorry, you say 2 multiplied by 25, and you get 50. So you say 52 minus 50, the answer will be 2, right? You already know that 25 does not go into 2, so you bring down the 6. And then you ask how many times this 25 goes into 26. It goes once. Therefore, 1 multiplied by 25, that is 25. You minus the 25 from the 26, you get a remainder of 1, right? So your answer will be 526 divided by 25 equals to 21, and the remainder is 1. All right, I also have an example that does not have a remainder that we're going to do quickly. All right, to see what's happening on the chat box. All right, so let's move on to our next slide where we will do an example without a remainder. All right, where we divide a number that does not have a remainder. All right, so here we have 3,822 divided by 21. All right, so we know that 21 does not go into 3. You leave an empty space or you write a 0. And then you ask yourself, how many times does 21 go into 38? It goes 1, right? So 1 multiplied by 21, the answer is 21. You write the 29 below the 38. 2 goes below 3 and 1 goes below 8. All right, so you minus 38. Sorry, you minus 21 from 38, and your answer is 17. And then you bring down 2. Remember, whenever you subtract, right, in this stage, whenever you subtract and you get your answer, you bring down the following number so that you can be able to do your multiples, or rather do your division, and ask how many times does this certain number that we're dividing by, or the divisor, how many times does it go onto the number that we have gotten from subtracting and bringing down the next digit. Okay, so here we have 17 because we said 32 minus 21. We have an answer of 17, and then you bring down the 2, you have 172. So you ask yourself, how many times does 21 go into 172, right? So let's say you now not sure of how many times does 21 go into 172. So what you do on the side, you write 21 times 1, it is 21. 21 times 2, it is 42. And then you write 21 times 3, it is 63. 21 times 4, it is 84. You're writing a list on the side, just so you know how many times 21 goes into 172. So you continue, how many? 5 multiplied by 21, it is 105. 6 multiplied by 6 multiplied by 21, it is 126. 7 multiplied by 21, you get 147. 8 multiplied by 21, you get 168. And then lastly, you get 9 multiplied by 21, it is 189. So you check now, okay, I have 189, and what is the number that I want to work with? It is 172. All right, so what is the number about that? That's 168. 8 multiplied by 21 is 168, right? So you know that, okay, 21 goes into 172 8 times, because it shows on my list here that 8 multiplied by 168, sorry, 8 multiplied by 21 equals 168. So already you know, okay, 68 is close to 172. So definitely 21 goes into 172 8 times. Therefore, you say 8 multiplied by 21, you write down your, below the 172, you write down the 168, right? And you subtract 168 from 172. The answer there will be 4. You bring down the last 2. I'm sorry that I don't have this on the screen. But I hope that you have your pens and papers in front of you and you are writing whatever that I am saying, okay? Because it is supposed to be a norm that whenever we come to class, we bring the booklet that we'll be using, or workbook, so that you can write down, okay? So now the answer is 4, and you bring down 2. You have 42. You ask yourself, how many times does 21 go into 42? Already you know, or from the list that you have written on the side, 2 times 21 is 42, so it goes 2 times. And then you say 2, the multiple of, when you multiply 2 by 21, you get 42, and this one has got no remainder, because when you minus 42 from 42, the answer is 0 and there is no remainder. Okay, I hope we are writing this down. Yes, the answer is 182, and we have no remainder. I see Kennedy there is also working out. Thank you so much, Adele. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, so I hope that we are writing this down. Let me quickly recap. We said when you are doing a division, right, 4-digit division by a 2-digit divisor, right, and you are not sure of how many times, right, the number goes into a certain number, what you do is you write a list on the side, or rather the multiples of the number that you are dividing by, which is 21 in this case. So you write 21 times 1, 21 times 2, and then you go down until you get the number that you are looking for, or the desired number, so that you are able to know, okay, these are the multiples. And here, if I ask this number, the number is similar, or rather it is close to this number, so definitely it goes this many times. And when I subtract this number, or rather let's go here, for example, I said we have, after subtracting 38, sorry, 21 from 38, you have 172, and then you know now that, all right, 8 times 21 is 168. The answer, when you subtract, it is 4, you bring down the 2, and then you already know from your multiples on the side that, okay, 2 multiplied by 21 is 42. So you write it down, and you are able to see that, okay, this one has got no remainder. All right, so let us move on to our next slide. All right, so here, these are the questions that inform us that we need to divide. Okay, so we're going to go through all these questions so that we know when we are asked to divide, we are not always going to be given the straight question, as in a form of numbers, right? Where you are just given, in like in the previous slide, where you were given 3,822 divided by 21, and we have to use any method, or rather a long method, to divide. So you might come across questions like these ones, right? So the first one here says, how many pieces of 34 centimeters each can you cut from 7,894 centimeters of a rope on a roll? Okay, so the question says, how many pieces of 34 centimeters each can you cut from 7,894 centimeters of a rope on a roll? So this tells you that you have to divide 7,894 by 34, because they are asking how many pieces each, each piece will be 34 centimeters, can you cut from a roll of a rope, which will be 7,894 centimeters long. So here you know that, okay, now I have to divide. Okay, so the second one, let's look at the second one. How many will each person get if 7,854 rand is shared equally between 34 people? Right, you see it's the same numbers, but now the question is different. We're using rands. We were using centimeters, but now we're using rands. And the question says, how much will each person get if 7,804 rand is shared equally between 34 people? So for you to be able to get the exact amount that each person will get, you have to divide the 7,854 rand by 34 people, and you will know how much each person will get. All right, so let's look at another one. A house is 34 times as big as its drawing on the building plan. In the actual house, one of the walls is 7,888 millimeters long. How long is the line that shows this wall on the plan? How long is the line that shows this wall on the plan? Remember, we're told that on the plan, a house is 34 times as big as the drawing on the building plan, right? So this tells you you have to divide 7,888 by 34, right? So we're moving along, right? We're looking at D. Here it says, okay, I think it's the same thing, right? But right, it's the same numbers, but okay, it's a bit different. A wall is 34 millimeters long on the building plan. The actual wall in the house is 7,888 millimeters long. How many times bigger? How many times bigger than the plan is the actual house? You see now the difference. It says here, how many times bigger? How many times bigger than the plan is the actual house? How many times bigger? So please don't confuse this word that says bigger. They are actually still wanting you to divide so that you know how many times bigger. Because it says a wall is 34 millimeters long on the building plan, right? So now they are giving you the actual wall in the house is 7,888 millimeters long. So it says how many times bigger than the plan is the actual wall. So you divide 7,888 by 34, and you will know that it is the answer that it is. All right, let us calculate. Let's calculate 7,888 divided by 34 is equal to 232. So your answer will be the actual wall is 232 times bigger, right, than the plan. All right. So the last one. For what number will the sentence 34 multiplied by, they leave a space, and which will equal to 7,888 be through? So which number will be through will give you this exact answer, which is 7,888. When you multiply that number that we are looking for by 34. So we already know that we did inverse operations. So when you are given a number and you have an answer and you're looking for a missing number, you do an inverse. So an inverse operation of multiplication is division, right? So you take the 7,888, you divide by 34, then you will be able to pick up the exact number that was used to multiply by 34 to get 7,888. All right. So these are the questions that we need to look out for, right? And we must know that they are actually asking us to divide. All right. When you come across such questions, you must know that they are asking you to divide. They're not saying multiply. They might be tricky, but they're actually saying divide. Okay. So let us move on to our next slide. All right, so here is another method, dividing by building up. You divide by building up. Remember we spoke of doubling and halving. So here this one says you divide by building up. All right, so you have a number which is 6,150 and you divide by 73. All right, let me quickly check. Ndubo, you can write on the chat box. Let me quickly check if what is the question. All right, I see everyone was answering. Thank you so much for that. Right, Ndubo, you can write your question on the chat box so that I can be able to see what it is that you want to ask. If you have questions, please write them on the chat box. Oh, so it was a mistake. Okay, then. All right. Okay, Ndubo. Right, let's continue. So you have 6,150. You divide that by 73. Can be calculated like this, right? You're right. Okay. Am I going to double? Am I going to half this? That's your thinking. And then there's your writing. Okay. And then there's your thinking again. All right. So now you're looking at 6,150 divided by 73. So what you do, you say, okay, 100 multiplied by 73 equals 7,300. Remember we said you must be able to know or form multiples of the number that you are dividing by. This you must always remember. You must be able to form multiples of the number that you are dividing by, which is the divisor, right? So here we have 100 multiplied by 73, it gives us 7,300, right? So you ask yourself, what is the half of 7,300? Or sorry, what is the half of 100 multiplied by 73, right? So you write 50 multiplied by 73. Your answer will be 3,650. That's the half of that multiple there of 100, right? So 3,650 is more than 1,000 away from 6,150, right? And then you write another multiple. You're forming multiples here. So you say 10 multiplied by 73 equals to 730, right? And you say now, okay, I have 3,650, which is 50 multiplied by 73. I have 10 multiplied by 73, which is 730. So you know if you add 50 and 10, it will be 60. So if you add 50 and 10, which is 60, and you add these two numbers, that will be your answer. You add your answers for 50 multiplied by 73, which is 3,650, and you add it with the answer of 10 multiplied by 73, which is 730, your answer will be 4,380. So you already know now the multiple of 60, right? So you know 60 multiplied by 73 will give you 4,380 because you have done a multiple of 10, you have done a multiple of 73. And you know when you add these two together, it will give you a multiple of 60. All right. So you're looking at the number that you're working with. Okay, so there's room for 730 more, right? Okay, so 10 multiplied by 73 equals 730. So you now say 70 multiplied by 73 equals 4,380 plus 730, which equals to 5,110. Remember, your 70 is coming from where you are adding 50. You're adding 50 plus 10, you got your 60. Then you're doing your multiple of 10 again. So you're adding 50, 10, and 10. That's your 70. And you multiply by 73 because you are forming multiples of 73 so that you can be able to get your answer. Remember, we are looking at 6,150 divided by 73. So here we are busy forming multiples that will be able to tell us exactly what is the number that we're looking for when you are dividing by 73. Okay, so we have 70 multiplied by 73 and we can have our answer, which is 5,110. So there is room more for 730 more. Still, you add your 10 because you know when you multiply 10 by 73, 730. That's now 80 because you're adding 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 50 equals 80. So you know 80 multiplied by 73, you take the previous answer, which was 5,110 plus 730. Remember, you said 70 multiplied by 73 equals 4,380 plus 730, which is the answer is 5,100. So you take that answer, you add the 730, and your answer will be 5,840. Still, there is 160 plus 150 to go, right? So you say 3 multiplied by 73, you get 219. So you know 83 because we are adding on this side all these numbers or the multiples that we are using. So you have 83 multiplied by 73, which gives you 6,059. So you know, oh, okay, for me to get to 6,150, I still need to add 73. All right. So you say 1 multiplied by 73 equals 73. Okay. So now you are adding, remember you're adding all your multiples that you are forming. So take 50 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 73 plus 1 and you get 84. And you say 84 multiplied by 73 equals 6,059 plus 73, which the answer now is 6,132. All right, so now my answer is close enough to what we're looking for. Sorry about that. My number is close enough to what we are looking for. Remember, we have 6,150 divided by 73. So all this that we were doing, we were forming multiples of 73 that will get us closer to the number that we're looking for, so that we are able to know what number are we going to divide by for us to be able. So what number, how many times does 73 go into 6,150? So the actual number that we're looking for here is, we know now that we're here at 84, we know that, okay, so if we multiply 73 by 84, it gives us 6,132. So you take the actual number, the dividend, which is 6,150, you minus 6,132, right? You take 6,150, you minus 6,132 because it is close enough, right? So we know that, okay, if this number is close enough, it will be able to give me how many times 73 goes into 6,150. So your answer is 18, right? Answer is 18. So 6,150 divided by 73 is 84. Why? Because for me to get 6,132, I had to multiply by 84, right? I had to multiply 84 by 73, and it gave me 6,132. And now I am subtracting the 6,132 from the actual number, which is the dividend, 6,150, and it gives me 18. And I know that 18 is a remainder because 73 cannot go into 18. So that is the remainder. So your answer will be 84 and the remainder will be 18. Okay? So this is why it is important for you to be able to form multiples of the number that you are dividing by. All right? It is important for you to know the multiples of the number you are dividing by, because it will give, or it will get you closer to your answer. All right, so let us move on to our next slide. We are only left with 5 minutes. All right, so we have 1,515 divided by 15. All right, this is now what we have to do as a classwork. We have 1,515 divided by 15. The instruction says, calculate the following using long division method. Calculate the following using long division method. So on the chat box, this is what I want to see. I want to see 1,515 divided by 15, and then you work it out and you give me the answer. Or rather, since we have 5 minutes, you can just give me the answers directly. But on your workbook, please use long division method. Okay? On your workbook, please give me long division method. So we have 1,515 divided by 15. What is the answer? We can write just the answer on the chat box. Okay, it is 101. I think Maduma, you wrote a mistake there. You said it's 11. Okay. Okay, the first one is 101. All right, Kennedy has answered the second one as well and says it is 164. Okay, sorry about that. All right, the second one says 3,444 divided by 21. Right, Kennedy has given an answer. It is 164 and there is no remainder. Right? There is no remainder. So the last one, what is the last one? Let's work out the last one. We have 3,989 divided by 45. We have 3,989 divided by 45. What is the answer? We are working on the third one. You can just write the answers, but on your workbook, please do use the long division method and write neatly, place value, write the number according to their place value underneath one another, right? All right, so we have 3,989 divided by 45. What is the answer? I don't see anyone doing the last one. Yes, Mbilendle says it is 88 and the remainder is 64. Thank you so much. And Kennedy agrees. Yes, that's the correct answer. It is 88 and the remainder is 64. All right. So I have homework for you guys. I have homework. Please do go to YouTube or to Africa Team Gigs to complete this homework. You'll be able to get this there. All right. So here is your homework. It is enough for you to do different methods of calculation or of division, but I would prefer that you use long division method that we were dealing with today. So tomorrow we will be looking at the clue-board method, all right? So this is your homework, and thank you so much for participating and being on time. I had a great time. So the last thing that I want you to remember, please always do an inverse operation to check, which means form those multiples. Remember, inverse is multiplication for division. So form those multiples so that you are able to make sure that you are getting the right answer for your division question. Okay. So thank you so much. Do enjoy the rest of your day. I hope this lesson was fruitful. As I said, tomorrow we are looking at clue-board method. So your homework, I'm always going to say you must please send it to abonkolo@gmail.com, right? And for this, you can go to YouTube or you can go to Africa Teen. For those of you who came late, you'll be able to full lesson. Thank you so much. Do enjoy